I lost my way for a good minute. Now I'm back. Let me reposition the vision to show you where I'm at. A rebel rolling with resistance and steady on the attack. Entrusted with the light of truth. Demons step the fuck back. Bring the torch of light and lay the rest to all the lies. Performing lyrical exorcisms. This movement's on the rise. Try to knock me off. I know that everyone tries. Remove the head of an incubus and leave the womb cauterized.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Jalene with JovesStar Astrology. I hope you're doing good today. We have a sleepy new moon in Pisces. I'm feeling really sleepy. I'm going to do my very best to not look sleepy and act sleepy, but boy, as the day has gone by, it's a sleepy new moon. The plus, though, for that, the upside to that is that we have Mercury that's just moved into Aries, and I happen to be a Mercury ruled sign. So I have had these moments where, I've just sort of, come up with an idea or a thought or said something just kind of off the cuff. Kind of that's what Aries does. But we're just getting started with Mercury going into Aries, but it does offer up a little bit of energy to this Pisces full moon, or a new moon rather. So I'm going to go over this new moon with you and the Sabian symbols. I'm going to try and take it slowly so that it's not too confusing for you guys. Boy, Pisces can sure jumble the mind, right? Jumbles the mind, jumbles the emotions. You're not sure what you're feeling. You're here, there. If you're feeling like that at all, you're not alone. It's kind of the theme right now where things are just sort of up in the air. It's like a catching feathers kind of time period where we're all just sort of trying to get settled into some sort of clarity, which is really hard at times to come by in the sign of Pisces, unless you're just focusing on tapping into your intuition and how you're feeling. And that would really probably be just the best way to deal with this. And, if your dreams are on fire and you're getting clearer messages in your dreams, then being sleepy is not such a bad thing. I mean, I've had some really good, clear dreams in the past 3 or 4 days. And for me, during periods where things just kind of seem cloudy, I kind of look for answers to things in my dreams. And believe it or not, I get them. Sometimes it surprises me. So wherever you're at with this, just know you're not alone, and you're probably exactly where you're supposed to be right now at the end of this cycle. Pisces is the end of, it's the very last sign of the zodiac. So it does represent endings so that there can be a new beginning. And some interesting things can happen when we're in a period of time where we're trying to sift through our prior periods of time before we move into something that is brand new. And so there's a little bit of this itching to move forward, but maybe feeling a little bit pulled back and into feeling we're in a state of confusion and flux for sure. And Saturn being in Pisces can certainly contribute to the feeling a little bit held back when we're coming to the end of a big cycle, and moving into something new. There's a hesitancy and maybe a feeling of wanting to get it right. It can feel heavy. It can feel confusing. All those good things are. We'll say they're good things. Everything is for a reason, right? For everything we experience, there is a reason, a higher meaning, which is also very Piscean. So we're going to take a look at it. I'm going to pop the chart up. I've studied the Sabian symbols, and so they're very interesting. I have a couple of different Sabian symbol books that I look at. And so I was trying to piece together the meaning because, as you know, if you've been watching me and you know that I like to study the symbolism of the Sabian symbols to the degrees of the zodiac, that they're a little cryptic sometimes, right? They can manifest in people's lives quite literally, I suppose. But for the most part, we have to sort of dig for that deeper meaning. Sometimes it pops right out at us, and sometimes we have to contemplate on it and meditate on it, right? A little bit more. As how to see how it relates to our lives, and of course, every lunar event isn't going to trigger something in each of our charts, but we look at it collectively for sure to see what's going on. And same thing there, depending on where you're at in the world. We can look at lunar events or astrological transits and the meaning behind those, and we see them stronger in some places than others. But Pisces is about the dissolving of boundaries and borders and the collective feeling, right? And so we all we can see events and the feeling and things that are going on kind of all over the place. I think that the things that are going on in the world definitely represent the dissolving of boundaries in terms of how we're all feeling the things that are going on in the world. Or, I like to hope that that's the case because I think we need to see that. Saturn and Pisces, like you kind of need to see what's really going on here in the collective and, how it's making everybody feel. And I think a lot of people will say that's an experience that they're having. So anyway, we'll take a look at the Sabian symbols, and I'll pop the chart up here and we'll take a look at that too. Let me grab a drink and some chapstick to get ready. Okay. All right. So here we have the full moon here, 20 degrees of Pisces. And this full moon is interesting because it's sandwiched in between and basically conjunct, sandwiched in between Saturn and Neptune. Saturn is the planet of limitations, delays, and boundaries, right? And Neptune is the planet that dissolves boundaries, right? It's not all bad. I mean, Neptune, we can look for magical, intuitive, otherworldly things to kind of happen. And, Saturn on the other end, I mean, it might represent kind of how we're feeling. It's like between, what responsibility and structure and dreaminess and, even melancholy, right? Just depends on where you're at to how you're feeling with this. But Neptune for sure softens, dissolves boundaries, but it can soften our emotions too, which is why you might feel sleepy or a little, under the weather, tired, or just even down in the dumps kind of thing, right? So just depends on where you're at and how you handle a Pisces energy. Some people could just be feeling a release of, of just energy in general, and just being, able to sort of relax into the overall feeling right now today. It just kind of depends. It just depends on where you're at. Now, if you're a Pisces rising or a Pisces sun, or you've got prominent Pisces placements, you're really feeling this sensitivity. And the new moon represents new cycles. And so this is like, we're ending old cycles and we're learning lessons through Saturn and seeing some things for what they really are. And Neptune will bring us into a new cycle. It's kind of like where we marry the past, present, and future, right? We kind of bring those elements in so that we can move into the future, because Neptune is going to move into Aries, right? Very, very soon. That's going to be a whole different expression of the planet Neptune when it goes into Aries, the fire sign, action-oriented sign of Aries. So this is like a rest and release and a reflection for sure of this cycle before we move into a new beginning. So if you're somebody who, likes to sort of get on with it, it might be a little frustrating. But if you're good with going with the flow and relaxing into some sense of confusion or contemplation, then you're probably good. It just depends. Pisces, we talked about, the mutable signs are kind of feeling some stuff here. Sagittarius ruled signs are Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun. They're experiencing a square, just like Gemini experiencing a square. I'm a Gemini, so it's like I can feel this. It's like there's confusion. I don't know where I'm going. I know what's ended. I'm pretty sure I know what I don't want to do, but I'm not really sure exactly how things are going to line up for where I'm going in some areas of my life, right? And it's not a good feeling when you're somebody like a Gemini who wants to just understand and be able to connect the dots logically and, create some kind of movement, right? Because that's Mercury. And Sagittarius, where, they just want to go and experience things. And if they're feeling pulled back or delayed, or things are a little cloudy or muddy, that can be a little frustrating for Sagittarius too. And then you have Virgo over here experiencing the opposition. So it's like they're wondering, like, well, what the heck is going on with everybody else, right? An opposition is relational. So it's usually how they're relating to other people. And so, a Virgo is usually pretty practical and logical and detailed. And, they've got things kind of lined up and in a precise kind of order, and they're ready to do the work. And then they find out that there are pressures and strange things happening that are pulling them in the opposite direction, right? Or at odds with them. And usually that's with people. So the mutable signs are kind of feeling it. And because this new moon is at 20 degrees of Pisces, you're talking, roughly about 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after, where you might feel a significant shift. So if you have anything Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, from about 17 degrees to about 23 degrees, this is creating a very prominent situation in your life, right? And the water signs here are going to be affected too. If you're a Scorpio or a Cancer, this new moon, same degree spread, right? This new moon is going to flow very nicely right into your Scorpio and Cancer placements, which could be a good thing. But boy, that's a lot of water. It could really open the floodgates, right? Lots of emotion, lots of flux and change. lots of things to contemplate from the past, memories and feelings and all of those things. You'll have access to those things, right? And definitely, if you're a water sign, going with the flow on these things is going to be pretty important. So yeah, I mean, we've got a watery, sleepy new moon here, and we're figuring it out. And there are aspects other than the sandwich between Saturn and Neptune. We have one of the dispositors of Pisces, rulers rather, dispositors, whatever you want to call it, Jupiter over here in the practical earth sign of Taurus. And so actually it's kind of nice, Saturn in Pisces is sextile Jupiter and Taurus. And so that's a nice connection. They're talking to each other so very nicely, and we can lean on the Jupiter and Taurus energy to sort of stay focused on the vision that we're trying to create, right? Or the project that we're trying to build, or the growth that we want to see. And Jupiter can be very optimistic if we choose to use it that way. So a Saturn sextile Jupiter can say, stay focused on the work, stay focused on the future, stay focused on your goals, and kind of give us a little bit of earth there to soak up some of that misty, sort of watery energy that we might be feeling. So that's a nice aspect to go along with this new moon. And honestly, that's really the only significant aspects. I mean, the enclosure here of the new moon between Saturn and Neptune is probably the biggest one. So if you're feeling, like I said, if you're feeling heavy or confused or down in the dumps or tired or whatever, there's a reason for that. And as Saturn moves to this degree, close to this 20-degree mark of the full moon, we'll be turning into an eclipse for the most part. There's an eclipse in September 17th of this year, where Saturn will cross over where the activating. So pay attention what's going on, how you're feeling, what's coming up. Saturn will activate this new moon just before the eclipse, the Pisces eclipse in September, which will be at 25 degrees of Pisces. So it's significant. And this is the beginning of a cycle that is going to last for about 6 months. So, it's not really necessary that you logically are able to put all the pieces together today, right now. You are where you're at. And respect that, because plans are coming together. Things will start moving as all of the planets start to move into Aries. Then things start to heat up, and that's when we have the Aries eclipse, and then the activity starts. So, take the time to dream and tap into your intuition. And if you're sleepy, or if you need to recover or just refocus yourself or have downtime, that's exactly what you should be doing, right? It's just because we're getting ready to start a new cycle. And as the planets go into Aries, things are going to start popping off, right? I mean, Mercury in Aries, that's kicking it off. We've already got the North Node, and we've got Chiron in Aries, and that conjunction could have shown us, the conjunction still active. It can be showing us a lot of things about ourselves and the things that we truly want, what will make us happy. It could be showing us a lot about our physical vitality and expressions, and all of those things, where we want to go, how we want to take action, and maybe having us feel like we're having to do a lot of that alone, like there's really nobody around to help us, right? But that's a lot of what Aries, and especially Chiron and the North Node, are saying, is like, it's time to find your own way. And then we have all this Pisces, where we can feel down in the dumps, and, just, you can fall into a place where you're like, nobody's around, nobody's helping me. It's very easy to feel sorry for yourself, and feel very alone in this, in whatever situation you're in. And, it's kind of designed for that. This time period, I think, is where we all sort of realize that we have to take responsibility for our own health, our own direction, our own happiness, and we have to move towards that. And because, at the end of the day, it's like, that's healthy, right? If we're relying too much on other people, in relationships or cultures or organizations, whatever the case may be, if we've not been able to operate as well independently, and we've overgiven or we've taken too much, that's the whole point of this, like this cycle here. So we've got a lot that's going to start popping off and happening, and a lot more activity. And you'll feel that as all these planets go into Aries. But when Saturn hits 25 degrees, goes over the 20 degree in September and creates an eclipse, there could be some change. And if you're a Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sag, you could be really getting a very clear look in the next 6 months of the direction that you should be moving towards. So yeah, I mean, maybe some of us like this rest a little bit, this contemplation a little bit right now, especially after all the planets coming out of Aquarius, which just sort of had our minds on fire, wanting to experience new things and really, sort of just create change, even if it was in a rebellious sort of way. I think we all kind of went through that, just sort of pulling, like, I want to be doing this, that level of intensity. And that's still very much present. Mars is squaring Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so this is where things can change suddenly. And, we may need to do that. We may need to experience an energy that actually pulls us out of our comfort zone and, throws us into a direction that we otherwise may not have gone into as quickly, but maybe we needed to. So, but also something to be careful in terms of not going too fast, or not, being too abrupt or spontaneous. If it's going to be something that we're going to regret in the long run. It just depends, again, where you're at with all of that. But very much the Mars square Uranus is in the air. And when you have all of this Pisces, I will say this, when you have, especially if you're a Mars ruled sign, and you really are just kind of going for whatever, being rebellious and doing your thing. Then Mars is very physical, and it's squaring Uranus, which can be sudden and unexpected and change. And Uranus can represent, not pleasant disruptions, right? Uranus can be breaks, and along with Mars, it can be, cutting and severing and just sort of aggressive. If you're a Mars ruled sign and let's say you have Pisces placements and you're feeling tired, or, in that place of escapism, because that's another very big Pisces signature, is wanting to escape, right, from reality. And we do that in a lot of different ways. But if you're in a place like that, where you're being affected emotionally, and it has led to some kind of escapism trait, you really want to be careful if you're moving around, if you're a Mars ruled sign, especially, or, check and see where Mars is in your chart, because you probably want to be very careful in your movements, right? Make sure that you're lucid, that you're awake, that you're not, drinking too much, that you're not asleep at the wheel, those kinds of things, because it can be dangerous. Just depends. It just depends on the placements in your chart, where you're at in your life, and things like that. But that's pretty much what's going on with this new moon. It is the end of a cycle, the end of a beginning of a cycle, or let's say ending and beginning of a cycle. We'll just say that, right? And possibly not knowing exactly what that's going to look like here in the near future. So I'm going to read the Sabian symbol. And you guys let me know, like, how are you feeling? How's everybody feeling? Throw your rising sign down there, your sun sign, and tell me how this heavy Pisces energy is feeling. And how did it feel going from a heavy, concentrated, Aquarius environment into Pisces? I don't know about you, but it was like mind on fire. I want to do new things. And, as things started to go into Pisces, it was like, yeah, because I have Pisces at the top of my chart. So I think most of the time I feel like I do okay with it, but this is a lot of Pisces, right? And we may not be seeing clearly. Anyway, let me know how you're feeling with this, and how many of you are going to be are looking forward to having most of the personal planets coming into Aries. And remember, as Mercury has gone into Aries, Mercury is going to retrograde in Aries at 27 degrees on April the 1st. So, and we'll be there. So actually, Mercury is going to be in Aries for quite some time, I think it's like almost 3 months, because it's just entered now and we're at March 10th. Goes into its retrograde on April the 1st. So yeah, and it'll stay there. So it's going to be very interesting, especially for Mercury ruled signs. So if you're a Virgo or a Gemini, obviously if you're an Aries or have any Aries placements, the Mercury retrograde will likely affect you. But Mercury anyway, going in there first, and then experiencing the retrograde and having the North Node and Chiron in Aries. And Venus will go through Pisces. Venus goes into Pisces, I think, on Wednesday. And we'll move into Aries, and then we'll have Mars there too. So things are going to speed up, right? The springtime is definitely looking like it's going to be a lot of new things, new adventures, new things, after we have taken a look at the depths of things here in Pisces. So I'm going to read the Sabian symbol. So we have 20 degrees of Pisces. So we round up to 21 Pisces. And the Sabian symbol for 21 Pisces is a little white lamb, a child, and a Chinese servant. Keyword talent. I've thought a lot about this. I'm going to read a little bit more before I talk about that part of it. But the theme is perceiving the beauty in difference. This symbol speaks to the importance of finding the meaning and opportunity in diversity. The image of a little white lamb, a child, and a Chinese servant alludes to the value of respecting individual differences and finding creative ways to motivate individuals with unique or special gifts to work together toward common goals. The figures in this image have no apparent relationship to each other. They are unique and complete within themselves, and yet they appear together as a tableau vivant. I don't know what that is. It's French. If any of you speak French and you know what that is, let me know. Together as separate, yet together. They appear together as separate, but yet they are together. The emphasis here is on integration and synthesis. The Chinese servant looks to the past, the lamb to the present, and the child to the future. So the lamb to me is like, that represents something new, right? A symbol of something new and innocent, right? As well as the child, right? I think the child's curious, like, what do we take into the future? Right? This is new. So far, the Sabian symbol definitely talks about a new beginning, right? and the birth of something new. And Pisces is the womb of the zodiac. It's where things are forming and gestating, right? And then in the water, in the depths, right? And then something is born from that, Aries. Okay. The Chinese servant looks to the past, the lamb to the present, and the child to the future. Yet time is an illusion, and each is a part of the eternal now. At its highest, the symbol represents extraordinary versatility and imagination, a preference for the unusual, and a natural gift for spotting and developing talent in others. The negative would be confusion, lack of organization, and inability to understand or make sense of life. Today, the accent is on diversity and specialization. You may be challenged to find ways to help people work together on some group project. Your greatest advantage lies in being able to bring diverse or seemingly heterogeneous, and I studied that word. We'll go back to that, heterogeneous elements together in a unified and well-functioning whole. Capitalize on the unique talents of the individuals in any group endeavor. Find the opportunities that difference creates. Guard against trying to force everyone into the same mold or expecting them to think and act alike. Don't resent or ignore what doesn't seem to fit. There is a use or niche for everything and everyone. Stepping stones: diversity, difference, dissimilarity, heterogeneity, that's that word again, variation, contrast, diffusion, versatility, eclecticism, specialty, division of labor, amalgamation, melange, potentiality, promise, aptitude, skill. So to me, and this heterogeneous, I looked this up. I mean, you can find the definitions where they use this word in the American language, right? And it talks about different types of people, different cultures, just differences coming together. So that's a good sign, right? So maybe we're trying to figure out how we bring our skills into marrying them up with other people's, or maybe we're opening our mind and feeling into that Pisces collective feeling and consciousness and realizing that we're not all that different, right? And what can we do for other people? How can we work together towards a common goal? That's one way. I also saw the word used in medical terms and chemical terms about how different medications or different diagnoses, diseases and things like that can actually be tracked based on their different parts and the different gene pools and things like that. It's a very interesting word, and it applies in different ways. And so I was thinking of Pisces themes. And of course, we've got big themes around, chemicals and drugs, the things that we put in our body, which very much represents as well the Taurus placements, right? What we consume. So I thought, oh, well, there's some potential symbolism there with what's going on right now. And then, of course, we know that we've got border issues, immigration issues, and we're looking at, how do we solve those things? And we've got mental health issues, and we've got, drug addictions, and just, the world is feeling all of these different things, and that makes it, but we all come from different places, right? And because Pisces is no boundaries, it's like, but we'll just take, addiction or mental illness. It's like, it doesn't matter where somebody lives or what color they are, whether they're male or female or what their religion is. There are some things that cross those boundaries: diseases, how we ingest food, how we ingest chemicals. There are some things that when we get down to brass tacks, we're all people, right? And so there are some things in this world that affect us all, no matter where we come from or what our experiences are. And, sometimes we need a common cause or a common enemy or something that we're all able to feel, regardless of where we are, to come together and try and work on solutions. And so I thought a lot about those concepts when I was reading up on the Sabian symbols, because I think that we've experienced some of those things in the recent past, where we just kind of figured out that we all are a part of this sort of, melting pot of energy, and that things can touch us, and, no amount of economic level or education can create immunity for any one person. That there are some things that we are all in together. And maybe that's a lot of what this cycle will tell us, will give us information. Saturn bringing in that clarity and that structure and asking us to work on those things collectively. So we'll see. I have mentioned before, it's like I'm feeling that way. I see what's going on in the world and it makes me angry. It makes me want to do something and say something. Because there are things going on that, even though they might be simple and subtle, even in my life or somebody, but that the repetition of some things occurring over and over again affect us all. And it's going to take us looking at each little piece and considering each other to create change. And maybe that is some of what this new moon will symbolize, where we're taking on new roles, where we're looking at the past, our past, and what we have and what we're dealing with right here in the future, and how we're going to move forward, and what we're good at, and what can we bring to the table. That's that talent piece, right? And maybe that's how we pull together this new beginning for ourselves. A little bit of the past, and realizing what the wisdom that we have in the past. The Chinese woman in the Sabian symbol can represent wisdom, right? We have Chinese proverbs. We have, Chinese practices that really are known as being, wise old practices and philosophies and things like that. And maybe we take our experience, what we've learned from that, what we're really good at, and we let go of the things, because Pisces is an element of letting go of the things that we don't need to take with us, right? We just have to figure out what are the necessary parts that are going to bring something together that will be good for us, good for everybody else, right? And maybe we're going to be joining new groups, or heading, up new projects, or there's a new identity that we'll be experiencing in our lives that, we'll be able to draw from the past so we can move into the future. We can help other people. We'll see. But those were the things I thought of when I read the Sabian symbol. So anything is possible right now in Pisces. So, it's also a sign of, if you can dream it, you can make it a reality. And Saturn is there. It can become a reality with hard work and some, looking at things like ideals can become concrete creations, right? So all of these things going on in this Pisces season, and I think it's going to be an interesting 6 months, especially with all the changes that are coming with the eclipses in Aries and Libra, and then this new moon turning into an eclipse. So don't rest on this full new moon and this cycle. If you're feeling something, or something is going on, or you're trying to sort through something, pay attention to that, because the next 6 months should show you something and should result in some kind of a big change for you come the fall. So there you have it. I was going to do a live today, and I was so tired. I was like, I just can't focus on doing it, but I'm going to do some more of those coming up, and I'll announce them. And, let me know in the comments how you're feeling. If you need a reading, my information is down below. Email me or send me a note on my website. I'd be happy to chat with you. I am going to let you go. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you next time, right? May the stars forever be in your favor and mine. And I'll see you next time. Take good care and bye for now.